Hey guys, what's going on? It's LandonRemixes here, and welcome to my review of the sophomore album from Imagine Dragons, Smoke and Mirrors. Now this might be the first album that I've actually gotten the record before I did the review, so I can actually show it to you guys that I did indeed buy this record, and I've bought a lot of records, and I've got more coming that are in my collection down here somewhere where I am going to review them, and I'm going to try to get to those today, but anyway, don't get your hopes up about this being a 10 out of 10 review like that Eden Project EP review that I did the other day. That one definitely deserved the 10. I'm not so sure about this record. I'm going to give it slightly lower, and you guys will find out why. The record kicks off with this kind of poppy track called Shots, and this one's been gaining popularity recently, maybe a little bit on the radio. I don't listen to the radio, so I honestly wouldn't know, but I know it's been gaining popularity. I've got some friends at work that listen to it, all this sort of junk, and I like the track okay. First time hearing it, I wasn't really crazy about it. I'm going to kind of talk about the bad on this record first. Wasn't crazy about I Bet My Life. I've gotten more used to it, but first listen, I was like, eh. Second listen, meh. You know, it's one of those tracks that I could really do without. And I feel, especially on this track, and there's another one, Trouble, is this track that kind of puts off this Philip Phillips vibe where he's been going recently, and kind of just that rock-sounding vocalist style. I feel like they've been taking a little bit too much from that direction. Over this album, they take a lot of different directions. I feel like they're kind of getting this southern rock feel going on, which is what Thousand Foot Krutch did with their last album, trying to get all the high notes, getting vocally stretched as much as possible, rather than their previous records just trying to get a different sound. While Imagine Dragons, I feel like, is trying to step away from that dubstep electronic and rap sounds that was on their first album, Night Visions, which I absolutely love that album. There were a few tracks I wasn't crazy about, like On Top of the World. I never liked that one, even though it was fairly popular and it was used in a lot of trailers for movies and things like that. I just didn't really like it. And there were a couple other tracks that I just wasn't crazy about. This record, I feel like, doesn't have as many awesome anthems like Demons on the last record. That one was crazy. I always liked Every Night on the last record too. There's a few tracks though that absolutely blew me away. The title track, Smoke and Mirrors, this track's kind of putting off a Coldplay True Love vibe from their last record, Ghost Stories, which I feel like they tried to pull from a little. Their sampling is really awesome on this record, which, like I said, is one of the reasons why I appreciate their music so much. There's a track called Gold, which has been gaining a little bit of popularity lately, and I really like that one. I really like how they're kind of becoming more of a rock band and less of a pop kind of mainstream sounding band with this record especially. Their last few singles before this record were kind of sounding just like a rerun of Night Visions, but I feel like on this record in particular, they decided to take a different direction, and I really appreciate that. And they're pulled in a lot of different directions. One of my favorite album reviewers, ARTV Reviews, he really gets into this fact and decides to give it kind of a worse rating. On my scale, he would have given it a 6 out of 10, which I'm not going to agree with. Like I said, it's not a 10 out of 10, but he is right on some aspects. There's this kind of slow section after Friction comes through, and there's about 4 tracks or so that are just kind of boring, and I mean, I like them, but he was right on that aspect where I think it's not as good as they could have gotten, and they could have just absolutely killed this record, but in this section they kind of take it down a notch and just kind of put in a couple boring tracks. There's this awesome tune called Hopeless Opus, which comes in at the end. ARTV also really loved that track, probably as much as I do, but he also was into this track called Polaroid, which focuses on these camera themes and Polaroid classics, things like that. All these themes that seem to be a little, I don't know, generic. It's kind of a generic lyrical message, but regardless, I liked most of the record. One of my favorite tracks is called I'm So Sorry, and man, this one kills. Killer rock groove, and Dan Reynolds has some awesome vocal twists in this track. He was like, I'm so... Like, honestly, that's just really impressive when I hear some distortion and lots of different diverse aspects of the record rather than just the regular run-of-the-mill stuff you'd find on any other record. So for this record, I think I went over most of the stuff that I wanted to. Like I said, there's a little bit of a boring section, but overall, I've really loved this record, and I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. And yeah, which is, I think, slightly less than I gave Above and Beyond earlier, but I really did love that record, like, a ton. So, man, okay. Imagine Dragons, 8 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Pick up Smoke and Mirrors, it's definitely worth it. There's a deluxe version at Target, but I didn't get it because this one was the cheaper one, and I didn't see the need to pay $6 more for 4 more tracks that I probably wasn't going to be crazy about anyway, even though I got the deluxe version of Night Visions. Whatever, I'm going to stop blabbing. Bye, guys!